Okay, Donald Trump announced during his presidential address this new voice program, which is where the federal government is going to start collecting stories of people who've been attacked by immigrants, who have been harmed by immigrants, and publicize them. Now, the Germans had a program very similar to this, and I spent about an hour yesterday trying to find the name of it, and I ended up ordering a copy of The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by Schur, because that's where I remember reading about it, but that was 30 years ago, so I don't remember the German name. I'm not even sure it was in the book, but it'll arrive in the next day or so, and I'll share it with you. But the program was basically turning your neighbors. Radio stations all across Germany would devote time every day for people to call in and denounce their neighbors. Hey, I think my neighbor's a secret communist. I think my neighbor's a secret Jew. I think my neighbor's a secret immigrant, whatever it may be. And there were newspapers. You could write letters to the editor and denounce your neighbors. And you could simply call the Gestapo. You call the police and say, and this was a widespread program. In fact, as the Nazis took over France, the Vichy French began doing this. In Norway, they were doing it. Basically, every country the Germans took over, they turned the populace into agents of the police. This is like serious police state stuff. And here's Donald Trump in South Carolina back last year actually advocating this kind of thing. Here he is.
The greatest source for this is our local police. And the really greatest source is all of you, because you have all those eyes. And you see what's happening. People move into a house a block down the road. You know who's going in. You can see. And you report them to the local police. You know, it's too complicated. Call federal government. Who do we call? It's a big bureaucratic mess. Nobody knows what they're doing. Okay? But you people, and me, and everybody, you know when somebody moves to an apartment near you or to a house near you. You're pretty smart, right?
All right, you can tell the color of their skin.
Something going. Report them. Most likely you'll be wrong, and that's okay. But let the local police go in and check out. And you'll get rid of this stuff. That's the best way. Everybody's their own cop in a way. I mean, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Right. So every time you see brown people moving into your neighborhood, because, you know, you can see them, right? It's not like, you know, the guys who took down the Twin Towers on 9/11, who lived among us for years, were walking around with terrorist tattooed on their forehead, right? And so it's like, oh yeah, look for those people whose skin is darker than yours and whose hair is darker than yours, and you know, you see them moving in. Call the local police. The local police will go by, knock on their door, say, prove you're not a terrorist, and those people will start feeling very unwelcome in the neighborhood, and they'll move out. Maybe they'll even leave the country. Let's just harass them. There's something fundamentally wrong about this, just with a capital W, just so wrong about this. And I think that kind of rhetoric from Trump that you just heard is the sort of thing that leads right to this fool in, what was the city where the two Indians were shot? Was that in Kansas, or it was someplace out in the Midwest, in any case? You know, where this guy comes up to these two people and first of all starts saying, hey, can I see your visas and whatnot? And I mean, these are tourists from India, or actually engineers. I think they were working here, so they must have had work visas. And then he shoots them and starts yelling, you know, go back to your country. I mean, it's, oh yeah, that's right, Olathe, Kansas. That's right. We have a couple of callers from that town. And you know, this leads to that. Now, you can't, just like, you know, climate change leads to severe storms, and you can't say, oh yeah, Hurricane Katrina was caused by climate change. But you can certainly say that Hurricane Katrina would not have been as bad without climate change. Well, this one guy killing these two Indians doesn't mean that it was caused by Donald Trump. But frankly, I think had Donald Trump not been talking like this in his entire administration, and not but just Trump, I mean, this is a leftover from Bush. You know, the whole see something, say something, you know, here in the subways in the metro in Washington, D.C., They have signs that say, see something, say something. And they give the phone number, and they make announcements. So you see a package, you know, phone the local police. I was listening to the local NPR station. This was maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago. I don't know what the numbers are right now. But they said that, in fact, I think it was before the end of last year, because they were talking about the statistics for the year. And it was something like 18,000 calls in which the police had to respond to a package or something, or somebody suspicious. How many crimes did they stop? How many terrorists did they catch? Well, how many terrorists did they catch? 0. A multi-million-dollar waste of police efforts. And now Trump is saying, oh, yeah, well, you know, let's just do this like the Germans did, right? Denounce your neighbors. And then people go and they knock on the doors of the neighbors, and the neighbors go, oh, my God, are we, you know, really welcome here? I mean, people don't want us in the neighborhood. This is pretty grim stuff. I didn't get to my economic stuff yet, did I? I will get back to that. Speaking of grim stuff, Senator Ron Johnson, this is we need to create an alert for Republican snowflakes. Ron Johnson is the Republican senator from Wisconsin, and he's got, you know, about 500 of his constituents keep hosting these town halls about the Affordable Care Act and inviting him. They actually show up. He doesn't. Week after week after week. Well, he sent them a cease and desist letter. This is incredible. Says this cease and desist letter is to inform you that you are not to call or visit any of Senator Johnson's staff or any of his offices at any time. Right.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Poor Ron Johnson. Our poor little Republican snowflake. You can call his office at 202-225-3121.